Black women in film and television and Herflix hosted a brunch sponsored by Chicken and Egg Pictures and Joanna Plofsky in association with David Lynch Foundation.
Make sure that the fans know that you're doing world peace initiatives and you've even met with the UN, correct?
Well, I'm doing a film called The Castle in Brooklyn, King Arthur and the Serfdom of Kent. And I've been doing this since 2007.
There was a town down underwater.
She did this before there was a fire, and then it ends up there being a fire.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding.
So I don't know anything about this particular case, but we have seen instances where there's a claim that a building isn't sound and there's very little evidence, and then they get torn down.
The same way we have emotional connections to our relatives and our friends, we have emotional connections to the buildings. And when those buildings are destroyed, we do mourn them.
I said to one reporter, I said, it would have been better if they shot us.
It was where they protected their lands. Yeah, they threw off grenades at anyone close to their gate. So I guess this hood's barely.
The newer version we're working on, I think, is better. It's more interesting. It may not all be floor area as calculable by department buildings, but there's going to be some sort of tower that Arthur and I worked on in both designs, and it's, you know, in keeping with his vision.
There's your arches. That's what they did. Your windows are here all broken up. Jesus.
There's been a gross miscommunication. The top floor of the Angel is gone. I hope that wrecking ball spends his whole damn sprawl building up something for a hothead to fall.
I was at the UN for the Universal Periodic Review of Human Rights Violations of the United States a couple of years ago with a segment of one of the films of the project called The Castle in Brooklyn, King Arthur and the...
Wait, you're talking about the gentleman who built the place in Clinton Hill, and the Black Party was there with Dave Chappelle? Oh my God!
Arthur Wood. Yes, I am. He's actually working with me a lot, and his family's been working to help this film come to pass, because we really realized that there was some things that were going on that were quite unsavory. It was hard to look at, and for 4 years I've been doing this and following him, as well as the people at 475 Kent, which had a similar event happen where they were evicted in one day. So the whole thing that we're doing, the subject matter is called, what I call it, preemptive forced eviction. And it means that the authorities come to your house because they find something that might be dangerous. So it seems to be that whole 9/11 syndrome that has hit, it's become a how would you call it? An excuse. I like that. It's an excuse to throw you out of your place. These artists all pay their rent. It's not a subject that they're squatters or anything like that. In fact, Arthur Wood owned his building for 28 years. He built his building.
He was an architect, correct?
He was a visionary. I mean, Arthur's an amazing artist. Him and his wife, Cynthia, who died, and I would say she died as a result of what happened. And I have an interview with her. She actually interviewed with me and Arthur, and she said, I'm going to be gone in a year or two. And it came to pass. She said they might as well shot me in the head. And I have some very shocking scenes that we constructed because Arthur really wanted to express the misery that he felt. And to see an old gentleman of 80-some years old and his wife being kicked to the curb like that and really being taken advantage of because they were homeless, and then all these people came and, we're going to help. And some of them were politicians and developers. And, they're going to give you money and make the place into something that's in code. You'll be able to keep your place. And I saw the whole thing happen. And then all of a sudden, they stopped building. And or was the buildings, apartment, so it was a mix. I was like, what is going on? Who's doing it? And that's what the film's about. And it's a little shocking. And I think what is good about the film is the human element, because this can happen to anyone. You know, it can happen to your parents. It can happen to us. It will happen to us. If it happens to them, it's going to happen to us. And that's why I'm doing it. And the Kent people of 475 Kent was another situation that they were in lofts. They were paying rent up to $3,000 a month and knock on the door, firemen, police. Oh, there's a matzah factory in the basement and it might blow up. It had been there for 10 years. So all of a sudden they discovered the matzah factory. So, you know, we didn't know about that matzah factory, but the thing that's extremely cruel about this, you can't do anything about it. Once they say it's dangerous for you, hey, it's dangerous for you, you must leave or you might get hurt. And that's not America. I mean, we're supposed to be we are a free country. This is not what we signed up for. You know, we should not be having this kind of thing take place. And I mean, I was evicted myself, but we had 30 days notice.
Do you feel that America loves you when you see stories like this?
I don't care if America loves me. I hope that America learns, and I hope America loves themselves enough to care about older people and fellow Americans. I don't think it's a question of popularity. I think it's a question of information. And when I went to the United Nations, I spoke on a panel at the the Palais de Justice, which is the Justice Palace, which is in the UN itself. And they asked me to speak about, you know, eviction and to show a clip of the Serfdom of Kent film there. And they were very impressed. They had no idea this was taking place. They thought, oh, you're evicted. You're not paying your rent. Your mortgage went overdue or something like that.
I like how you smell. I'm like, you know, this information that you're saying is just really sad. Now, what is this smile from that I see?
I am smiling because when I think about the people that we met, and I think my executive producer will let you know, they're my friends. I'm the kind of filmmaker that I don't go in and intrude and push my way in and disrespect people. I'm not there for that. And perhaps some people will argue that I'm not a real documentary filmmaker. That's fine with me. I'm not. I'm just a filmmaker. I don't like those categories anyway. I am coming from the heart. And when you meet people heart to heart, you know, it's deeper than what is happening to them. It was their survival that makes me smile, because they got together and got back in the building. The Kent people got back into the building, which is unprecedented. And in fact, Tiffany Gardner at Nesri said that it had never happened before. And, you know, this is a story that has to be told. It was because they got together, and they got together with the landlord, and they did the repairs, and for 3 months they were out. And of course, some of them couldn't get back in because they could not afford the place in the meantime, you know. And when they got back in, of course, the rents were raised, and this is another continuation of why, you know, what the heck was going on.
We want to find out. I want everyone to know, because, I mean, it's not just what you're doing as a movement. So how can others be involved in your movement and your development as you develop all your projects?
Well, we are sponsored by IFP, and fiscally sponsored, and we have a site that they gave us, and if you find a castle in Brooklyn, King Arthur and the Serfdom of Kent, please donate. It's tax deductible, and we have finished filming, and we just need to do post-production. And I'd like to pay my artists and filmmakers. Everybody's on deferred. I'd like to pay people, and there's a little animation we have to do, and that would be great. And once you see it, you'll understand, and I think it'll make a lot of changes. I mean, it's already done a bit of a stir.
Well, congratulations on making a difference in other people's lives. It's really nice to see women doing great things, especially executive producers.
Oh my, yeah, that's a pretty big title, I got to tell you. And basically all it is just you have to back the right horse. And I was incredibly lucky to to get together with Larage Productions, to get together with Tyler A. Chase, because she is just an amazing filmmaker. And she is, I don't know, she was able to see through all of the smoke screen. She was able to see through everybody's eccentricities and just show the artist behind it, so that you're able to see the crime committed, because it was committed, it was committed to people who are actually helping society in their own way, with their own art. They're very well-known people. I mean, these people who were evicted.
Right. She was telling me about the drummer and some of the other individuals. No, you actually work with them, correct?
Tyler worked with them.
Can you name drop?
Yes. Connie Carruthers, an amazing jazz pianist. She was one of the people at 475 Kent. There was also Guy Lesser. Guy Lesser is a graduate of Yale School. He was the son of one of the greatest producers of TV. He did, what was the name of that? He's a writer, educator. He captures everything in a few words, basically. I mean, Tyler filmed him as he was just saying like a few short things that completely encompassed everything that was going on. And then you have Deborah Masters. Deborah Masters, she is a sculptor, and you see her stuff all over Brooklyn, all over Manhattan. Even she was arguing that Kennedy Airport, as soon as people walk out or walk into the country, they look up and see her sculptures, in the land of the free and the home of the brave, and this lady has been thrown out in the street. It's just like a little ironic. These people who have been completely displaced, and if it wasn't for their valor and their, the fact that they are very creative and that they got together and actually found a way around things so that they were able to get into the building, it would have been quite the mess. I mean, you see how a lot of people wind up in the street, and they're not necessarily the people who you think would wind up there, not people who are, very, very poor, or people who can't pay their rent, et cetera, et cetera. It's just, it's very eye-opening, I think. And so I was just amazed, because Tyler took all this footage, and I was like, how the heck is this lady going to put this together? I mean, these people are incredibly interesting, but how, and you got to just see it, because it's as artistic as the people who she films.